Hello everyone, let's make a calico kit together. Display of the finished product before starting. The mouth area is higher than the other areas. Before making the final piece, you can first practice the basic stitches with the practice kit. Once you are familiar, proceed to the final piece. Start by preparing the thread or pinch the ends of the fishing line. Use tape to secure the ends. Please prepare the tape yourself. It is used as the threader. The tape makes threading easier, but it is not essential. Begin threading by pinching the folded part of the threader and inserting it through the small hole at the needle tip. Make sure to insert through this small hole, not directly through the large hole. If you thread it through the large hole, the yarn cannot stay on the fabric surface. During punching, you need to thread it through the small hole, push it forward, and pull it out from the other end. Put the yarn in. Pull out the yarn. Leave about 1 inch of yarn tail. That is about 2.5 centimeters. Set up the embroidery fabric by loosening the embroidery hoop screw and removing the inner hoop. Place the fabric with the printed pattern facing down on the inner hoop, centering the pattern. Put on the outer hoop. Flip to the back side. If the pattern is not centered, gently push the fabric inward. Then pull the fabric toward the other side. Be careful not to pull the fabric forcefully to avoid distorting the pattern. Keep the pattern centered. Tighten the screw while evenly pulling the fabric outward. Press the fabric surface if it dents and feels loose. The fabric is not tight yet. Continue tightening. Press the fabric surface again. A slight dent with a tight feeling is acceptable. Turn to the back side. Make sure the pattern is centered. Insert the needle from the side, leaving the punched loops on the side, which is the front side. This side is the back side. Take out number for stitches and color instruction manual. Unfold it. Picture 1 shows the color codes and stitching techniques for reference during crafting. The entire project uses the cut pile method. The cut pile is here in the practice kit. Picture shows the finished result. You can refer to this image when trimming. First, create this area. Using yarning color number 4. With the cut pile method. Thread the yarn through the punch needle. Pull out some yarn loosely and set it aside for later use. Take out the embroidery hoop. Hold the embroidery hoop, keeping it a certain distance from the table surface to make stitching easier. Find a starting point on the edge line, insert the needle with the bevel facing forward, and push the needle head all the way in. Make sure it is completely flush with the fabric surface here. Insert the needle into every other hole. Insert the needle into every other hole. Keep the needle tip close to the fabric surface as you move forward. Lifting the needle too high will cause yarn segment to protrude and pile up. And do the previous step. Slide the needle tip along the fabric surface to restore the large punched holes. Pull back the yarn. Continue punching. Cut off the yarn end to avoid blocking your view. Continue punching. No need to strictly follow the number of holes. Just keep the yarn segment length similar to the previous ones. The outer edge of the pattern can be punched a bit more tightly. You can insert the needle right next to the previous hole without spacing. This can make the edge fuller. When punching the inner part, you can punch following the normal spacing, inserting the needle into every other hole. While punching, you can rotate the embroidery hoop to a direction that you feel comfortable. If the yarn on the needle feels tight, promptly pull out some yarn to loosen it and set it aside for later use. If you find it difficult to punch in, it's because your hand is pinching the yarn here. Release the yarn and keep it at the upper right side of your hand. Be careful not to place your hand under the needle tip to avoid pricking yourself. When punching the second round, insert each stitch in the middle of each yarn segment from the first round. Fill this area completely. When punching in the center, you might accidentally punch into the adjacent loops. In this case, pull the needle back, use your hand to separate the loops, then continue punching. After finishing punching this area, slowly pull out the needle, hold the yarn with your hand, and cut it off. For gaps like this, use the needle to fill them again. Cut off. Next, work on the middle top of the head. Find a starting point on the edge to insert the needle. Turn the embroidery hoop to a comfortable position. When the yarn feels tight, pull out some yarn to loosen it and set it aside for later use. Cut the yarn end to avoid blocking your view. After punching the two areas, flip to the front and cut open the loops. Use scissors to trim vertically, avoid cutting horizontally, as this will shorten the yarn. Cut open all the loops. Begin working on the middle area. First, observe the finished product. This part is more prominent. The yarn segments here longer than in other areas, so the technique will be different. Find a starting point along the edge and insert the needle. Insert the punch needle. Flip to the back side. Pinch the yarn with your fingers and pull out the needle, but do not release your fingers. Insert the needle into a hole. After releasing your hand, pinch the newly punched loop and pull out the needle. Continue punching the next hole. Fill this area using the same method. You can also place an object behind the embroidery hoop and lightly rest the hoop on it as a support, making punching easier. Fill this area. Pull the needle out. Cut off the yarn. Flip to the front. The yarn here will be longer than in other areas. Cut open the loops. For this area, use number 2 yarn. Take out the yarn. Thread the yarn properly. Find a starting point at the edge of the area and insert the needle. The outer edge of the pattern needs to be punched more densely, inserting the needle right next to the next hole. If you feel the yarn is tight, it may be because an object is pressing down on the yarn, preventing the yarn from being punched, and remove the object and keep the yarn loose aside. Fill this area completely. After punching is complete, cut all the loops open. After cutting all open, turn to the back side. For making this side, use number 1 yarn. Following the demonstration method, thread the yarn properly. Find a starting point at the edge of the area and insert the needle. After punching, turn to the front side and cut all the loops open. Turn to the back side and create your kanchi using number 3 yarn. Begin punching the ear kanchi. Punch the other ear concha in the same way. Turn to the front side and cut open the loops. After cutting all the loops, use scissors to help push the yarn back to its original area. Adjust the yarn back to its original area. After defining the boundary lines, start trimming the edges. Trim along the edges in a circle, removing small amounts multiple times. Clean the surface fibers. After finishing edge trimming, continue using scissors to neatly trim the loose fibers on the surface. Be careful not to trim this area. Trim it like this. Next, trim the middle nose area. First, observe the finished product. It looks like a heart shape. Start trimming. Adjust the yarn segments with scissors before trimming. Keep them vertical to make trimming easier. First, trim around the edge. After trimming the outline, shorten the height. Trim a little at a time repeatedly. Trim it like this. Tilt the scissors to follow the curvature while trimming. Trim it like this. Next, create this white area using number for yarn. Thread the punch needle. Find a starting point at the edge of the area and insert the needle. Try to punch the edges more densely. First, complete punching this area, then punch the other areas, working section by section. Start punching the next area. After finishing punching, begin punching the tail area. Once done, flip to the front and cut all the loops. After cutting all the loops, flip to the back side. Next, work on these 3 areas using yarn in color number 1. Thread the punch needle. Find the starting point at the edge of the area and insert the needle. This area is finished. Continue punching this area. Then punch the next area. Punching of the 3 areas is complete. Flip to the front. Cut open the loops. After cutting, flip to the back. Next, punch the remaining 4 areas using yarn in color number 2. Thread the punch needle. Find a starting point on the edge of the area and insert the needle completely. Next, work on this area. After finishing, gently pull out the needle, hold the yarn with your fingers and break the yarn. Next, fill the last area completely. Once all punching is complete, flip to the front side and cut open all the loops. After cutting all the loops, use scissors to help push the yarn back to the original area and adjust the boundary lines. Adjust the yarn back to the original area. Use the same method to adjust the other areas. This step requires patience. All boundary lines have been adjusted. Now, trim the loose fibers on the surface. Use the convex side of scissors to trim evenly. Trim a small amount. Do not cut too much at once, or it will be difficult to adjust later. Trim the surface evenly. Surface is roughly trimmed. Next, trim the edges. Hold the scissors vertically, with the concave side of scissors close to the edge while trimming. Trim a little at a time repeatedly. Next, trim out the chin from here. Hold the scissors vertically, with the concave side against the chin, and trim around to shape the contour. Trim a bit deeper. Also trim both sides to deepen the contour. The chin boundary line trimming is complete. Now start trimming the legs. Trim a boundary line between the 2 color blocks. Trim diagonally on both sides to deepen the boundary line. Use scissors to adjust the boundary line. Boundary line trimming is complete. Continue trimming the middle boundary line. Use your finger to feel the recessed point in the middle. Flip to the back side to locate this position. You can easily part the yarn with your finger. Located here in the middle position. First, roughly trim out a boundary line. Check if the position is correct. If it is, continue to deepen it. Trim it like this. Next, trim the shape of the tail. Trim along the boundary line between the two color blocks. Trim both sides to deepen the boundary line. Tail trimming completed. Trim the tail in this area first. Use your fingers to feel the indentation. Turn to the back side to check. Use your fingers to feel the indentation. Gently move the yarn back and forth repeatedly. Trim along this diagonal line. Trim both sides again to deepen the boundary line. Trimming is completed. Start trimming the back. Shape the back contour naturally. Trim it like this. Loosen the screw. Remove the outer hoop. Turn to the back side. Leave about a 1-inch margin outside the pattern edge. About 1 centimeter. Trim off the excess fabric. Cut along the pattern outline. Like this. Cut slits along the edge up to the yarn edge, being careful not to cut the yarn. Make a cut at the peak of bends and curves. Slits cutting is completed. Apply hot melt glue on top. Then fold inward to secure. When using a hot melt glue stick, you can use a hot glue gun for assistance. If you don't have one, you can use a lighter to melt it. Use the inner flame of the lighter to heat until it softens and becomes transparent. Fold inward. And glue. When using a lighter, Heat with the inner flame. Soften until transparent and ready to use. Heating with the outer flame will cause the melted glue to turn black, which looks unsightly. Use the same method to secure the remaining parts. Pasting is completed. If the embroidery fabric protrudes, trim it with scissors. Take out the white felt. Cut a strip about 1/4 inch wide at the edge. Make a mark. Two and 1 inches long. Apply hot melt glue at the bottom. Fold in half. Stick both ends, forming a hole in the middle. Apply a little hot melt glue to the lower part. Stick it at the top middle position on the backside. This will be the spot to attach the kite cane. Take the remaining felt and place it on top. Apply hot melt glue on top. Press gently, then apply hot melt glue in sequence to secure it. Make sure to secure the edges as well. Once everything is glued, turn to the front side and trim off the excess felt along the edge. Be careful not to cut the kite cane hook. If the front side shows no felt, you can turn to the back side. Trim the edges neatly. Trim like this. Then flip it to the front side. Trim the surface again. Tilt the scissors and trim closely around. Trim a curvature like this. Repeat the steps to finish trimming the remaining parts. Use a tool to adjust the yarn around the nose. Insert the nose accessory. Adjust the nose position with your fingers. Gently move the yarn just below the nose left and right with your finger. Form a curved shape. Apply a small amount of hot melt glue to the bottom of the nose. Press gently to secure it. Nose fix. Take a small amount of wool. Roll part of it into a small ball. Place it just below the nose. Gently poke it with the felting needle to secure it. While adjusting the shape, poke the woolen to fix it. This state is fine. Use scissors to neatly trim the yarn in the middle. Trimming is completed. Take out the eyes. Place them in the appropriate positions. Adjust and confirm the positions. Press to leave marks. Remove the eyes and use the marks as a guide to cut out the eye sockets with scissors. Then, put the eyes back on. Adjust the surrounding yarn slightly. Apply a small amount of hot melt glue under the eye and stick it on. Gently press to secure, then repeat the steps to attach the other eye. The main part is completely finished. Now make the bow by taking out the checkered ribbon. Tie a bow. Cut off the excess ribbon. Fold the tail in half, then cut diagonally with scissors to create a swallow shape. The bow is finished. After confirming the position, apply a small amount of hot melt glue to secure it. Press to fix. Bow installation is completed. There are 2 ways to use it. Choose according to your preference. Kai cane usage. Thread the kai cane through the pendant loop. Pull through. Complete. Use a bar pin, flip to the backside to determine the pin position. Apply a small amount of hot melt glue to the back of the pin. Press firmly to secure it in place. Installation complete.